Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Jerron and I am back with a brand new video, and as you can see today, it's time for another belt review. Now this belt is one of, as a lot of the belts are, my favorites, but this truly is, as far as just the belt design, history behind it, one of my all-time favorite championships in WWE history. And as you can, I also hope you love this lovely Rusev Day throw I got. As you can see today, we're going to take an in-depth look at the WWE Intercontinental Commemorative Championship. And this is my first commemorative belt replica that I have. If you've been watching my channel for over the last few years, I always normally get the standard, replica belts made, out of metal, or of course mine that are that have been re-leathered to more accurately replicate the real belts you see inside the ring. But this is actually my first commemorative belt, and I've actually had this for quite a few. I've had it for, feels like maybe almost a year. I got this on a pretty good sale on WWE Shop, and it was basically half off. And since these belts are cheaper than the standard adult replicas, I figured it would be a great steal. And plus, just to see kind of how it is, since I don't have my belts displayed in the manner that I would like to, as far as in a display case, I figure there's no need in me spending huge amounts of money on something that's just going to kind of stay in my closet. So I figured I would take a chance, and I must say I am quite impressed. So let's get into it. Of course, with any of my videos, you're going to learn a little history as well. So I'm going to just kind of explain, my thoughts on the history of the Intercontinental Championship, some of my favorite competitors and moments, and just things of that nature. So as we can see, first off, it's in the lovely carrying case. We see the WWE logo, Intercontinental Commemorative, letting us know that this is Intercontinental Commemorative replica. So let's open it up and see what we're working with. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna stand it up. Well, yeah, it's pretty good. So the belt looks, aesthetically, it's awesome. It's on the white simulated leather, just in this made to the exact scale replica of the Intercontinental Championship you see on television. The belt, which is currently held by Finn Balor, I do believe. I have not been watching WWE that faithfully lately, but I believe Finn Balor is still the champion. He won the belt from Bobby Lashley back at WrestleMania. But one thing about me, I love the white leather, the white leather. Even as a kid growing up, when you would see, kind of Ultimate Warrior, and I think Shawn Michaels, they were some of the few guys that kind of had the white straps from time to time, or the different colored straps on their championships. They just always stand out. It looks so much more prettier, and just the white on the gold on white is just timeless. So let's just look at the far left strap. You see the WWE logo. Then you have the I guess the snaps, the side plates, very well detailed. You have the center plate, which just beautiful. Just the Intercontinental with the stars and the just beautiful. And then as we go to the right, we have the Intercontinental logo again, with the letters underneath, or the WWE logo with the Intercontinental underneath. And then we have the beautiful gold tip at the end. I mean, my gosh, the gold tip is just the exclamation mark on it. The belt is very light, as you can see. I mean, I can hold this with the palm of my hand, which of course you cannot do with the standard replica belt. Let's look at the back of it. Standard. We see the stickers and the information right there. So this is an authentic commemorative replica. And I must say, when I first started collecting belts back in, I want to say it was 2011, 12-ish, I stuck away from the commemoratives because, in my estimation, I always wanted the exact, as close to the replica of what I would see on television. But literally, if I were to come out the house with this belt or show it to a friend, without them touching it or lifting it up, you would not be able to tell the difference. This looks just this is just as equivalent, just on looks alone, to the regular replicas you see. And I would certainly advise this, if you have kids who you may want to get them kind of a replica belt, I would certainly advise this to them, as far as being more. And I'm trying to get the belt to kind of, give me one moment. I'm trying to get the belt in a position to, yeah, I want to get that kind of, yeah, that's what I was going for, something like that. Yes, I would certainly recommend this belt. One is half, you're paying pretty much half the price for what you would pay for a, standard replica. It looks great, and I think for kids, this is certainly that route you should go with. And check WWE Shop. I got this on sale. WWE Shop. They have every so often, and it was actually a period where I was getting quite a few belts because there was a few month stretch last year where I got the SmackDown tag replicas. I got the UK replica belt, and then this. So usually, and I've subscribed, to them. I get their email blast. So whenever there's a sale on WWE Shop, I always get an email sent to me, and they usually, at the time, I'm not sure because I haven't bought anything from them in a while, but it felt to me like they would have these kind of 50% belt sales every month, or at least every 2 months. So just kind of keep your eye out for it, because you can definitely rack up on some really affordable belts. And just get into a little history of the Intercontinental Championship. The Intercontinental Championship, the official history of it, according to WWE, and actually I'm not liking it as much as I thought of. Okay, let me hold it like, yeah. Well, let me put it back flat. I think it looks best that way, so let's keep it like that, as it was. But the Intercontinental Championship was, I believe, created in, I want to say, 1979 or 1980. I have not done my usual research like I do for these videos, so I may be off on some of the dates, but the belt was created, and Pat Patterson is recognized as his first Intercontinental Champion. And the interesting story behind it is that he, apparently the official WWE narrative, which is false, is that he won the belt in a tournament in Rio de Janeiro. But the tournament is fictitious. There was never any tournament where he won the belt. He was awarded the belt, and that's just the kind of the official story that WWE has created and kept going for the last 35 years, 35 years that the belt has been in existence. Kind of similar to WrestleMania 3, how the attendance was 93,173, where the actual attendance in the building was more around the 78,000 mark. But hey, it's WWE in history, so what are you going to do? But the Intercontinental Championship throughout the 80s and throughout the 90s, and I would say a good chunk of the 2000s, the Intercontinental Championship was the number 2 belt in the company. If you were the Intercontinental Champion, then it meant that there was a strong possibility that the belt would be a stepping stone to you becoming the world champion. And also another key aspect about the Intercontinental Championship, which I think has been lost over time, especially in this current era, is that the Intercontinental Champion typically was considered the workhorse of the company. So when you go back and look at the great Intercontinental Champions of the 1980s, your Ricky Steamboats, Randy Savages, Tito Santana, and even in the 90s, your Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels. While those guys at the time they wore the belts were not considered to be the top guys in the company, they were often considered to be the top guys inside the ring as far as putting on the best matches night in and night out. So it kind of just added to that mythical legacy that the Intercontinental Championship possessed, and that it was truly the workhorse belt. And you can even go into the 2000s when you the guys who held it consistently, such as Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, tremendous top rate workers, and just kind of just some history as far as that aspect of the belt. That's one thing I've always kind of felt was pretty unique about the Intercontinental Championship. Now, this is the design. When you ask anybody about the Intercontinental Championship, 9 times out of 10, they're going to envision this belt in their heads. This is the standard. This is the standard Intercontinental Championship design that has been the most consistent, although there have been major changes to the belt. Now, when the belt was introduced in the 80s, it was this exact design. The pretty much, of course, maybe there may have been some slight variations on the as far as like the actual competitors pictured on the belt, the moves that they're doing or things like that. But for the most part, the belt was the same. It was on black leather. I believe the earliest Intercontinental Championship that I've seen that I have pictures of, which is held by Randy Savage. It had the traditional WWE logo at the top, but it was WWF logo, block logo, but it was in red. Then I believe later throughout the 80s and definitely throughout the 90s, it was replaced by, I want to say, the gold WWF block logo. But everything else, for the most part, remained consistent as far as the design, the Intercontinental, the lettering, the globe in the middle, the stars on the side, the stars right here. So for the most part, the belt remained intact. However, in 1998, and I want to say it would have been the night after WrestleMania 14, The Rock, who was the Intercontinental Champion at the time, The Rock premiered a new, more, updated version of the belt. It was more of a circular shape, and it was on purple leather, which eventually was moved to black leather. And I guess you could kind of call that the add to their version of the Intercontinental Championship. But that was the version of the belt that remained for most of the next, decade plus, which I never was high on that design. That's the Intercontinental Championship that was held by the likes of Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin. I'm trying to think who were notable champions. Jericho held that version a lot. So that was the Intercontinental Championship that was active from 1998 through roughly 2014, and then in 2014 they bought this version back on the white leather, which I was very happy to see, and it's remained that way ever since. Now, I really want to say that either Miz or Cody Rhodes was one of them were the champion when they reintroduced the classic design. So this version of the belt has been in effect since 2014. And some of the recent Intercontinental Champions we've had over the years, we've had Roman Reigns. He's held the belt. I really think that Seth Rollins, there was one wrestler I can point to who kind of bought back a little bit of the prestige of the IC belt, because let's be honest, for a good, felt like a good decade, the Intercontinental belt was not really one of the featured titles in the promotion. You didn't really see a lot of heavily, Intercontinental Championship matches on pay-per-view and on prominent positions on the big shows. But I really think Seth Rollins brought the belt back to prominence last year, and probably, in my estimation, the most high-profile Intercontinental title match of the last few years was the triple threat opening match that opened up WrestleMania 34 last year, the match between Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz. And even Seth Rollins has some really great matches on Raw against Finn Balor for the belt. So back, early 2018. So really, I think Seth Rollins deserves a lot of credit for kind of resurrecting that belt. The belt's currently held by Finn Balor. He defeated Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania this year. Now, as far as the wrestlers most associated with the belt today, I would have to say The Miz. I believe The Miz is next to Chris Jericho in terms of having the most Intercontinental Championship reigns in history, and he will likely surpass Jericho, being that Jericho was no longer in the company. But I believe Chris Jericho has the record at 9 Intercontinental Championships, and Miz may be at number 7, if not 8. But I'm almost certain that Miz will hold that belt, very soon again, or at least some point in the near future. So that's just a little history about the Intercontinental title belt. I always like to inject some, history into all these videos just to give you a better appreciation for the belt. But I really, really like this. This is, I really going forward, I just may get the commemorative belts because one, they are cheaper, they look just as good, and they're great for display. It's not like I'm playing with these belts on a daily basis or have them outside the house. I really just have these for display purposes. So hopefully one day I'm able to get a case or something to display them all in. But I'm certainly not closed off of getting more of these. And in fact, I do have another commemorative championship belt that I'll be sharing with you very soon. So stay tuned for that. But as I always say when I do these videos, it's been a long time. It's just been a lot going on in life, a lot of school, work, and just life responsibilities and things of that nature. So, but please, you may not see me that frequently on YouTube, but where you can see me frequently is on my Instagram account at JD Wrestling Anime Archive. So it's a lot of letters, but the description's in the link. But if you're on Instagram, please check out my page at JD Wrestling Anime Archive. And true to the title, is basically a it's just an inside look into my wrestling and anime collection. Of course, if you've been a fan of my channel for the last few years, I have tons of wrestling belts, magazines, figures, and and so much more, so many more items I've just amassed over the years. So, trading cards, autograph photos, whatever you name it, and if it's related to professional wrestling, it's likely somewhere in my collection. So check it out. Then also the same with the anime. I have a ton of anime magazines. Magazines I've been collecting since about probably the last decade plus. Different anime related books, manga series, little anime collectibles I've acquired over the years. So please just check out my page. Follow me. I update the page on a daily basis. So where you may not get me on YouTube, you may get me on YouTube every couple of months. You will be able to get a steady stream of daily content on my Instagram page. So please check it out. So it's just a place for wrestling and anime nerds like myself, just to be ourselves and just to nerd out together. So I believe this brings me to the conclusion of this video. I hope you have liked this belt review. I really hope you like this. I love this Rusev throw. I got it off of eBay about maybe a month or so ago. It's like super great. But yeah, but like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video of the Intercontinental Commemorative Championship. I do have another Commemorative Championship belt that hopefully I'll be able to share with you all very soon. So I hope you all just have a great rest of the day, and I will talk to you again after a while.